Speaker, prove me wrong, okay? Prove me wrong. In Australia, we think she's the only female cybersecurity researcher with a niche in reverse engineering. We've attended many events. I've met a lot of females in this field, but prove me wrong. Prove me wrong. We think she's the only female in Australia with a niche in reverse engineering. She's going to now give you a fantastic presentation on spies spotting. How do you spot a spy? Who is the face behind a spy? Media friends, please help me welcome Noushin Shabab, Senior Security Researcher of Australia and New Zealand. Noushin.
Thank you, Eric, for introducing me. Thanks everyone for coming and joining for my presentation. I'm Noushin Shabab, Senior Security Researcher from Great Team, Australia. Today I'm going to talk about spies. Who are the spies? Who are the faces behind the cyber espionage attacks? So the main theme of conference is cyber espionage real in APAC? I'm sure that by now you know that this is real, but let me tell you some more examples about cyber espionage campaigns we have been investigating during the years in APAC. You saw already some of the examples from the past presentations, but there are much more happening in APAC region. You can see that I put together some of the logos that we created for APT campaigns that are targeting APAC countries, the above pictures, and then some of the attacks, cyber espionage attacks and campaigns originating from APAC countries. But I'm not going to talk about any of these campaigns in particular, but I'm going to talk about overall cyber espionage campaigns in APAC region, and then we will move to a very interesting part of the presentation, which is talking about the people and faces behind the cyber espionage. So, talking about some major cyber espionage attacks happening in APAC region. There are some attacks that are as old as since 2003 that were targeting some countries in APAC region. As you can see in this map, some of the countries in our region were targeted by a very big APT campaign that you see in this picture. First of all, let me introduce you to our new APT logbook. That you can see the URL here. You can go visit this URL to see different APT campaigns, when they started, who are the targets, what do we know about the origin of the attack, and much more information. Again, another major cyber espionage case in APAC region, Net Traveler. You know about it. You heard about this APT campaign in the first to the second presentation, Vitaly's presentation. Talking about different nationalities or different language that cyber espionage actors have in APAC region. We put together different APT campaigns, and we categorize different APT campaigns by the language spoken behind the attacks. I mean, by the attackers and people that operating these cyber espionage campaigns. There are some Chinese-speaking APT actors and cyber espionage campaigns that you can see here. The oldest one started 2004, as you know, in Traveler again. And then some other cyber espionage campaigns that speaks Korean language. The first one we started since 2007. There are other countries active in cyber espionage attacks in our region too, like this one, Dropping Elephant, which we believe they are operating out of India. So, but my main topic is talking about cyber spies, people behind cyber attacks. Who is a cyber spy? You know the definition of a spy, but a cyber spy is someone who attempts or gets unauthorized access to some information or documents or files that they should not have access to. And there are lots of people like this. There are lots of cyber spies in APAC region. But do you think they look like these icons that I put for cyber spies? Okay, we will look at some of the faces behind cyber espionage attacks shortly. Let me tell you something. Cyber spies are not always, they do sophisticated attacks, but sometimes they make careless mistakes and they leave some traces behind that lead security researchers to find out who is behind the attack, what they do, how they work, how is their work habit or lifestyle, and what they think, what is their motivation. I'm going to talk about different interesting information security researchers found and we found based on the evidences that we could collect from the attacks, from the traces that attackers left behind. First of all, not all the spies are who you think they are. Not all. There are some spies that work for intelligence agencies or cyber armies, but this is not the only case. There are also some companies that have a double life. They look like a private company or a company that doesn't deal with cyber espionage, but in fact they are doing cyber espionage on behalf of some governmental organization or some intelligence agencies. But there are not just governments involved in cyber espionage, there are some private companies that do cyber espionage too. They offer their services to different customers. The customers might be governments or might be private sector, but there are some private companies in cyber espionage too. Other facts that these careless mistakes that cyber spies may reveal is that some of them, they work on a variety of campaigns. They don't belong to one APT campaign or one cyber espionage campaign, but they work on a different, they work on a variety of different campaigns. They move from this campaign to another campaign, and sometimes they have different roles and responsibilities. I mean, cyber espionage campaigns consist of different people, sometimes that they have different skills and different expertise, and they do different roles and they have different responsibilities. But let's have a look at some of them. Some of these careless mistakes that these cyber spies do that led cybersecurity researchers and experts to find the faces behind the attacks. We all use social media. We all upload our personal photos, photos related to our workplace, or photos with our colleagues in social media accounts. But if you are a cyber spy, are you doing that too? Do you upload your photo? Do you use the same name and same username and password and nickname that you use in the cyber espionage attacks components that you are dealing with on your personal social media as well? Some of them do. And then they reuse the username, they reuse passwords. Like, I'm sure that many of you reuse your passwords for all your social media accounts or emails or everything. Cyber spies do the same. And then some of them even use social networks to recruit new people for their new projects, for their companies, for their, their different operations. So, and you know, in social media accounts, you can find different evidences, different information that helps you to find out many things that is not obvious. The first sight. Look at this guy. He looks like Spies. Do you know him? He is one of the cyber spies. He used the same nickname that he used to have for some of the activities he did in some cyber espionage campaigns. I'm not going to talk about the campaigns that they work for, because I want to focus on what careless mistakes they do that reveal their faces. He used the same name that he used for the same nickname that he used for domain names inside the attack infrastructure for his personal social media accounts. He even put some interesting photos on his social media accounts that revealed some. Do you see something interesting in this photo? Do you see the caps at the back of the photo? Military caps. And then, what is this photo? What is this one? He put some photos of his workplace. And these photos revealed the place that he works for. This is, the place he works for is one of the security agencies that do cyber espionage attacks, apparently.
Is he still alive?
I guess he is. I'm not sure.
Still posting photos?
What about this guy? He looks like he's cycling. Doesn't look like he's spying. But not sure, maybe he's a spy. He uses the same username that he used inside the cyber espionage campaigns that he was contributing inside his personal social networks. And what is this picture that he put inside he uploaded onto one of his social networks? It's a plate of his car. It shows the place that he lives. I mean, security researchers looked at this plate and could realize that where does this person live? Although he put some other country inside as a country of residence inside his social network, but some careless mistakes, like putting the photo of your car's plate, revealed something else. And he also uploaded some of the photos that he had taken while he was at work, in his workplace. Photo of his car with some places next to it, some place, I don't know, some signs for buildings. He put another photo that shows some other buildings. And he put these photos in an album named Workplace or something like that in one of his social network accounts. And then security researchers in Threat Connect group and company, they used all these evidences to find out the place that he works for, which is again one of the security agencies of one of the countries in APAC region. What else? There are some spies that try to be more anonymous. Like they use Mr. Dorn as name, not a full name, when they want to register some domains for the attacks. And they use their email address to register that domain. But again, for registering some other domain, they use the same email address, but this time they use their real name. They use the full name. So now we know the full name of the person. Another guy, he also used Mr. Wu for the name, and he used this domain that he registered with this name for a cyber espionage campaign. But again, in one other domain name that he registered, not for cyber espionage, for his personal reason, I don't know for what, he used the same email and he used his full name. So who are these two people? This Mr. Don and this Mr. Wu. That we already know their full names. They both are shareholders in a Chinese information security company, which is supposed to be a private security company, but then other information about this company revealed that the company is actually works for Ministry of State Security in China. So this is one of those examples. If you remember in that slide, I said that there are some companies and some organizations that they have a double life. They look like very common and ordinary organization, but they actually do cyber espionage on behalf of some governmental agency. Let's look at other careless mistakes that these cyber spies make. Talking about dropping elephant, we talked about dropping elephant a lot today. So there were some other careless mistakes that people did inside these cyber espionage campaigns that revealed traces of 3 individuals inside the cyber espionage attack components. But how? One of these individuals, which happens to be a young university student, he puts his name in some different places, like a PDB path of malware file, means that when he was developing a malware component for the attack, he accidentally put his username of his computer inside the malware file, left it inside the malware file. Then he used his own system with his own name and used Microsoft Office. That we found the username inside Microsoft Office cache file. Again, the same username. And then he also attempted to test the malware on C2 server. He used he tested the malware with his own information and with his own data, and he unintentionally uploaded some personal data on the server. So in this leaked document, unintentionally leaked document that he put, there were some more information that I cannot reveal the exact information, but it helped us to find out social media accounts of this individual. And in Facebook account of this person, there were the name of the company that this guy works for. By looking online for the company, we found that the main website of the company, and inside the information page of the company says that they provide some in-depth intelligence analysis as a service. So if you remember, I said some private companies contribute in cyber espionage and they offer some services, and we don't know who are the customers. This is one of them. And then another interesting fact is that the director of the company is a former Army intelligence operations lead. So when he got retired, he started his own business in the same field. Other careless mistakes that revealed some other information about people behind the cyber espionage attacks. It's not about the real face, but some other facts, some other interesting facts about people working in cyber espionage campaigns. Researchers in Mandiant team, they found out different evidences about three identities behind one attack, which is APT1 cyber espionage campaigns. These people use their username or nickname for different parts of the attack, and it revealed, the username revealed that these people have different responsibilities and different skill sets. Like one of the persons, he is responsible for he or she is responsible for registering domains for the attacks, domains for command and control servers of the campaigns. One other guy is responsible for developing malwares. Maybe he has more expertise in software development than the other guy. And there's another one who does more social engineering. So he's more into creating social network accounts, fake accounts, and doing social engineering tricks to people. Another thing that these careless mistakes revealed about cyber spies is that there are some people behind cyber espionage campaigns that they don't belong to a specific campaign or a specific organization. They do what they want. They work in different campaigns. Now they work for this campaign and then they switch to another campaign. They move to another campaign. Sometimes we found people, these people offering to write malwares inside dark web forums and sell it. And even some guys were spotted to do malicious research, Windows kernel research for some other campaigns. So there are different people with different work habits and different responsibilities and different motivations behind cyber espionage attacks. Other careless mistakes, there are a lot. There are a lot of careless mistakes that spies made, but I picked some of the interesting ones from our research and other researchers to show you who are behind the attacks and what careless mistakes they do that reveals important information about cyber espionage campaigns. So there's another guy, Ugly Gorilla, named himself as Ugly Gorilla. He uses this username inside the malwares. He actually sometimes intentionally puts this username, like as you can see the last line, no doubt to hack you, written by Ugly Gorilla. We put this kind of strings inside the malwares and inside the attack component. But again, he used the same email and the same username to register for some forums that he contributes to, to talk about some research some researchers in conferences or in university events. So, and maybe in that forum, sorry, they put his real name like this. So his real name is not Ugly Gorilla, something else. And then other things that careless mistakes reveal. Like some guy was using a very special name or nickname for himself, which is Dota. He used this to create different social media accounts, different email addresses, and then for registering one of these domain names, he put some phone number. And I'm not sure if it's a real phone number, but it shows that it indicates that he is based in some state in China. Okay, I think it's enough. We looked at enough careless mistakes that cyber spies do, so let's conclude with the motivations of these people. First of all, some of the cyber spies, they can tolerate differences, like different races, different beliefs, different religions. So some of the cyber espionage campaigns, they are based in this motivation. Some others, they want to have the power. They want to empower their government, or I don't know, their country, or themselves, their company. This is another motivation that they have. Some have political intentions and political motivations. As you know, we talked a lot about them. And then, of course, economic purposes. They want to boost the economy of their country, and they do this kind of attacks. So, and I'm sure that there are much more motivation, I don't know, kinds of motivation behind cyber attacks, but we don't know. People have different intentions and different motivations when they do cyber espionage. But as you saw in my presentation, some of them, they do some careless mistakes. They leave some traces behind that let us find important information about cyber espionage campaigns. So, thanks for listening to my presentation. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Senior Security Researcher Noushin Shabab. Thank you very much, Noushin. Very, very, very insightful.